transportation be? Driverless cars used to be the sort of thing you would see in sci-fi films, but they are becoming more and more reality. According to industry predictions, we will see a significant number of vehicles on the road by next year. Wow. But if they become the norm, what will be the impact on our city? Here to help us answer the question is real estate attorney Justin Thompson, who also serves on the board of USC's MedTrans Transportation Center. Hey there, Justin. Thanks so much for being with us today.
My pleasure.
Yeah, I want to start just right at the top, set some foundation for the viewers. How do driverless cars work?
Well, the technology is awfully complicated, as you might imagine, but the basis of it is V2V, or vehicle-to-vehicle communication, and V2I, vehicle-to-infrastructure communication. And it's interesting, timely question actually, because just this morning there's a story out, national news story, about Ford developing its own V2V technology. So the interesting interplay here will be how in the coming years, months, however long it might be, how that technology plays out and what the standard for the industry is that's adopted. Think of Betamax versus VCR or iPhone versus everybody else. Those are the kinds of decisions that still need to be figured out.
And it's going to change our infrastructure, right? Highways are going to operate differently. I heard someone talking who wrote a book called No One Behind the Wheel, Sam Schwartz from the New York City Transportation Department, saying cars right now are 6 feet wide. Our highway lanes are about 12 feet wide, mostly because drivers are like this. Like, we can't stay in our lane correctly. But if we're all in autonomous vehicles, they can shrink the lanes to 7 feet, and then you'd have more lanes. Like, is it stuff like that?
Absolutely right. And think about this, parking. Los Angeles is ground zero for parking dilemmas and parking issues. If you are able to shrink down the size of a car, you can fit more cars in a tighter space. If cars can park themselves, which autonomous vehicles have the capability to do even now.
Teslas already can.
Exactly right. They can fit more cars in a tighter space. You don't have to worry about people having to open their doors to get out of the car. So now you've maximized the space in which cars can park.
Okay, so the future is now, and this is all very Jetsons and very cool, but let me ask you a question.
Sure.
And break it down for me as from a real layman's perspective. So these are computerized driven cars, right?
Correct.
Okay, because you V1, V2, computerized driven cars, which means that computers can be hacked. So this presents a whole new slew of problems. If someone can hack into my vehicle, tell me the dynamics of those realities.
Well, that's certainly an issue, and I think there's a lot of consternation out there in the world about it. I think
like losing control.
Yeah, that's been the subject of more than a few television shows already, I think. You know, I don't know that there's a clear-cut answer to that, just the same way there isn't a clear-cut answer to your computer being hacked.
But is this the future? I mean, is driverless cars the future in your mind?
I think it's not a question of if, it's a question of when at this point.
And real estate and home values, why would it impact that?
Well, it's an interesting point, right? This goes back to parking. The simplistic version of this is that a lot of houses have to have 2-car garages. When you build or redevelop a house, you are required to have a certain number of parking spaces allocated to it. Now, I'm not talking about apartment buildings or multifamily. I'm talking about single-family houses. But if you are able to now, instead of having 2-car garages, 1-car garages instead, you may have just now freed up 100 square feet, roughly, give or take, of living space.
And then that car is just what, circling all, just picking up other people?
Well, who knows what model the future will adopt, but there are ride-sharing services, there's subscription models, there's a lot of different alternatives out there that could very well turn the 2-car home into a 1-car home.
Yeah, come back, please.
We're out of time, but the cost of these vehicles more than the average car, or?
Well, right now, you know, the Tesla cars are actually, you know, pretty pricey. They do have newer models coming out. I know that there's competitors out there that are also coming to market with models that may be more competitive.
We have to do more on this.
Yes,
there's a bigger conversation, but thank you.
Thank you both.
Thank you all. Real estate.
Yeah, you got to come back.
Cars next.
This is an ongoing conversation. We'll be right back. Stay with us.